Guinea-nomics, when a guinea pig talks to you about economics.
And the math that goes with it. Hi there, I'm a guinea pig. I'm here to show you the math of the mutually beneficial trade with graphs, like this one, which I guess I can use some words to explain. So, this is a graph of how much Rosie likes different vegetables. The y-axis shows you how many utils she receives from eating one piece of each different type of vegetable. To make sure we remember that her utils are specific to her, we will label it U superscript R. This other graph shows you how much Philip likes vegetables. His y-axis is labeled U superscript P because his graph measures his utils. This is a very important distinction that can confuse a lot of beginner students and public thinkers and politicians. These graphs are using two different units of measurement. There is no such thing as a generic util. All utils are specific to the person experiencing them. We covered that in the last video. When we put these graphs side by side, some people might think that Rosie likes lettuce more than Philip does because she gets 8 utils from lettuce and Philip only gets 4. But we don't know that, because when we graph utils, the numbers don't matter that way. The numbers matter, but only in as much as they represent different ratios of how much somebody likes one thing as opposed to something else. The util is fundamentally a ratio. It is the ratio of how much someone likes some base experience, such as sitting quietly, to how much they like any other experience, such as eating a blueberry or these other vegetables. So, rescaling Rosie's graph like this says nothing about her experience of utility. As long as we keep all the numbers in the same proportion, these graphs represent the same thing. And because we can also rescale Philip's graph however we want, you can see how that makes the side-by-side comparison meaningless. But what does mean a lot is that we can see two different patterns in these graphs. We see that Rosie and Philip have different preferences. Rosie likes lettuce the most, followed by tomato, followed by carrot, and then pickle. For Philip, he likes pickle the most, followed by lettuce, then tomato, then carrot. If they are each given their choice of vegetables, they will pick them out in a different order. That's what makes a mutually beneficial trade possible. Here's how it goes. If Philip has a piece of tomato and sees that Rosie has a piece of lettuce, he will offer to trade with her. He likes lettuce more than tomato. He would get more utils from eating the lettuce than the tomato. But Rosie will say no. She also likes lettuce more than tomato. This trade would be one-sided. Philip would benefit, but Rosie would not. Without some other extrinsic motivator, this trade will not happen. But if Philip sees that Rosie also has a pickle and offers to trade his piece of tomato for the pickle instead, Rosie will say yes. That's because Philip and Rosie have a difference of opinion when it comes to pickle. Rosie values pickle less than tomato, but Philip values pickle more than tomato. They will trade, because this trade makes them both better off. They both end up with more utils after the trade. That makes this trade logical. But what makes this trade a little magical is that some of these utils did not exist before the trade happened. The trade created them. We call these extra utils the surplus. When Philip traded his tomato for the pickle, he gave up the 2 utils he would have gotten from eating the tomato. In exchange, he got 9 utils from eating the pickle, so his net increase in utility is 7. He has 7 surplus utils. And the same thing happened for Rosie. She gave up the 1 util she would have gotten from the pickle to get the 4 utils from the tomato, for a net increase of 3 utils. These 3 surplus Rosie utils were also created by the trade. Now, when we add 7 Philip utils to 3 Rosie utils, we don't get 10 utils. We get 7 Philip utils and 3 Rosie utils. They are different units. But what we do know is that we just created extra utility. Philip got some, and Rosie got some. We don't know who got more, but we do know that more utility for one person plus more utility for a different person means there is more utility in society as a whole. Now, notice that we didn't add any new vegetables. We started with a piece of tomato and a piece of pickle, and that's still all we've got. We didn't do anything extra to the vegetables either. We didn't perform any labor on them to change their characteristics. The vegetables themselves have not changed in any way. The surplus utility quite literally poofed into existence simply as a result of the trade. And since we take utility to be a measure of well-being, that's what makes Rosie able to say that each mutually beneficial trade makes the world a better place. Not that I'm saying we should care about whether people have more well-being. That's not a mathematical argument. It's just that if you do care, that's what the math is showing us. But it's not showing us that in regards to all trade. That's why Rosie and I keep using the entire phrase, mutually beneficial trade. It's not that we want to sound extra smart, it's that the distinction is very important. Let's take another look at a one-sided trade where only one party benefits. If we force Rosie to trade her lettuce for Philip's tomato, that will also generate some brand new utility for Philip. It will create 2 Philip utils, but it will destroy 4 rosy utils in the process. Since we don't have a conversion rate between rosy utils and Philip utils, we cannot know whether this trade will result in a net gain or net loss of aggregated societal utility. It could be either. When we had 2 people gaining utility, it didn't matter which one gained more, or whether we even accepted the idea of aggregating them at a societal level. But when one is losing and one is gaining, we cannot make our mathematical argument anymore. At least, not without the use of some additional assumptions about utility and the additional controversies of those additional assumptions. Utility as a concept can be controversial enough, and we haven't even talked about transaction costs yet or other market imperfections or that utility diminishes at the margin. Diminishing marginal utility takes mutually beneficial trade to a whole other level, because it turns out that Rosie is willing to trade her piece of lettuce for a piece of tomato. She just isn't willing to trade her first piece of lettuce. But I'll save that for the next video. I haven't made all the graphs yet, and you really need to see it on a graph. Graphs make it so much better. Thanks for coming, and maybe I'll see you again when we've got more graphs to look at. Bye! So much talking. More graphs should mean less talking. Why is this more talking?